So let's go ahead and get started. Whenever you add fractions with unlike denominators, you need to find a common denominator. In order to do that, I like to use just a factor tree each time because I think it helps eliminate mistakes and I find it easy. So let me show you what I'm going to do. First, what I do is I do a factor tree for each number. And I know that 5 and 2 are prime. I then put them in a chart, okay? And you may be thinking, well, why do all this? Because you know that they're both prime, because it just helps eliminate mistakes. And you'll see it as I work problems with larger denominators. So then I place the numbers in the chart. The rule is you bring down the number. If there's more than one, you only bring down one. And as I work more problems, this will make sense. And then I just multiply these together. So I know the common denominator is 10. So now what I do is I rewrite the fraction, okay, using the common denominator. And then I divide the denominator into our common denominator. 5 goes into 10 2 times. So I multiply 3 times 2, and that's 6. 2 goes into 10 5 times. 1 times 5 is 5. Okay? Now I just add, because we have a common denominator, and that is 11 over 10. And if I would like, I can then convert it into a mixed fraction. And here we're going to take 11 divided by 10. That goes 1 times. Bring down the 1, and so it becomes 1 1/10. Okay? So the answer is 11/10, or 1 1/10. Okay? I'll circle that. Let's work another one. Okay, now we have 4/10 plus 2/5. We have an unlike denominator, so let's find the common denominator. So I'm going to do a factor tree for 10. Okay, I'm going to circle the prime numbers and then 5. Draw my chart. We've got 10 and 5. We've got 2 and 5 and 5. So now, bring down the 2. I have 2 in this column, so I'm only going to bring down 1, so it is 10. Okay? I know that many of you can easily look at this and just see it's a common denominator. This just helps eliminate mistakes. You do not have to do this if you can find the common denominator. We're going to rewrite the fraction, okay? And, oops. So you got to be careful not to make mistakes. Okay. 10 goes into 10 1 time. 4 times 1 obviously is 4. And then 5 goes into 10 2 times. 2 times 2 is 4. And so what this does, it gives me 8/10. Okay. And now we can simplify. I'm going to move this over here so it's not quite as messy. And so now let's simplify. So we have 8 over 10. I know that 2 will go into both of these. 2 goes into 8 4 times, and 2 goes into 10 5 times. I know 5 is prime, so simplified it is 4/5. Okay, 1/3, 1/2. They're both prime. Okay, so I write these in, bring down the 3, bring down the 2. That equals 6. I'm going to rewrite. Okay, 3 goes into 6 2 times. 2 goes into 6 3 times. And when I add these, we have a common denominator. 2 plus 3 equals 5, 6. And that is simplified. Okay, let's do a factor tree for 4. 2 and 2. 5 is prime. Now let's draw a factor. Let's do a chart. 4 is 2 and 2. 5 is 5. Bring all these down. Multiply them together. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 5 is 20. So now we have a common denominator of 20. Rewrite the fraction. Okay. 4 goes into 25 times. 2 times 5 is 10. 5 goes into 24 times. 2 times 4 is 8. When I add this, it is 18/20. I'm going to now simplify. So I have 18 over 20. I know that if I divide it by 2, that becomes 9/10, and that is simplified. Okay? Again, the goal of this video is just to give you several problems to work so you can build confidence in adding fractions. Okay? Let's do a factor tree for 10. 2. I know if you can quickly see that the common denominator is going to be 10, you do not have to complete this chart, but I'm just, I do it each time to help me not make mistakes. I have 2 in this column, so I'm going to bring down 2, bring down the 5, and multiply these together. If you can shortcut, that's fine, but I just find that I make mistakes when I start doing shortcuts in math. Okay, 10 goes into 10 1 time. 7 times 1 is 7. 2 goes into 10 5 times. 1 times 5 is 5. When I add this together, I'm running out of room right here. I know that 7 plus 5 is 12/10. Okay, I'll circle that so you can see it. Now I'm going to simplify. Let me move this up just a little bit. Okay, I know that 2 goes into both. 2 goes into 12 6 times. 2 goes into 10 5 times. And then if you would like, I can go 6 divided by 5. 5 goes into 6 1 time. And 1 left over. So that becomes 1 1/5. So I will circle. There's your answer. Okay, so let's work another one. Okay, here we go. 10 factor tree is 2 and 5, and 3 is prime. Okay, 10, we have 2 and 5. 3, I'm going to write this here. Bring down, we only have 1 in each column. Oops, what am I doing? That is a 3, and that's a 5. Oops. Okay, 2 times 5 is 10, and 10 times 3 is 30. So our common denominator is 30. So now, let's do this. And this may be helpful to... No, I'm going to leave this the way it is. Okay, so now, let's rewrite the fraction. We have 30 and 30, okay? 10 goes into 30 3 times. 8 times 3 is 24. And 3 goes into 30 10 times. And 10 times 2 is 20. So that gives us 54 over 30. Now we can simplify. But before we simplify, I see that I made an error. 24 plus 20 is not 54. Okay, I got in a hurry, so let's rewrite it. It is 44 over 30. Okay, I apologize. Now let's move this up. Now I know that I can simplify by dividing both numbers by 2, so that becomes 22 over 15. And then if I would like, I can take 22 and divide it by 15. That goes 1 times. 22 minus 15. Whoopsie. 22 minus 15 is 7. So it becomes 1 7/15. So the answer is 22/15 or 1 7/15. And I'll circle that. Okay. Sorry, again, 24 plus 20 is 44, not 54. Okay, let's go ahead and find a common denominator. Factor tree for 4 is 2 and 2. 10 is 2 and 5. Place them in my chart. Okay, this is 2, 2. Place a 2 here and a 5. Bring down 1, bring down the 2, bring down the 5. That's 4, and 4 times 5 equals 20. So the common denominator is 20. Now let's rewrite the fractions. Okay. And 4 goes into 25 times. 2 times 5 equals 10. 4 goes into 25 times. What am I doing? Excuse me. 10 goes into 22 times. 4 times 2 equals 8. Again, I was getting in a hurry. Got to be careful. 10 plus 8 is 18 over 20. Now I can simplify that. Divide it by 2. 2 into 18 goes 9 times. 2 goes into 20 10 times. And that is simplified and your answer. Okay? So, again, sorry about the mistake here. It's 10 goes into 20, not 4. Let's work another one. Okay, this one you will appreciate finding the common denominator using the factor tree. So we have 18. Okay, I know 2 times 9, circle the 2 because it is prime, and now 3 times 3. And we're down to prime numbers. 27, although 27 kind of looks like it's prime, but it's not. It's divisible by 3. Okay, and so now here's where we're at. Now, where you make mistakes with fractions, at least I do, is you get in a hurry and you start writing different numbers. So I've got to be careful when I transfer. Write the 2 here, and then a 3, and a 3, and then here I go 3, 3, 3. I like the chart because it just keeps everything neat and tidy. So now, bring down these numbers. Remember the rule, if you have more than one, you just bring down 1. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 3 is 18. 18 times 3 is 54. Okay, so now I have a common denominator. I'm going to rewrite the fractions using the common denominator. Okay, 18 goes into 54. Guys, I can't do that really fast off the top of my head, so I'm going to use my calculator. Okay, 54 divided by 18 equals, that is 3. Okay, 10 times 3 is 30. And 27 goes into 54 2 times. 17 times 2, I'm going to just be careful so I don't make a mistake, is 17 times 2 equals 34. Okay, and now 34 plus 30 equals 64 over 54. I know I can simplify this because I see that it ends in 4 and it's divisible by 2. So let's go ahead and simplify. So if I divide each by 2, this becomes 32. And this becomes, let's see here, 54 divided by 2 is 27. Okay. And so now what we can do, this is pretty much simplified, but I can take 32, let me move this up, 32 divided by 27, and it goes 1 time. 32 minus 27 is 5, so it becomes 1 and 5 27ths. So the final answer would be 32 27ths, or 32, I've got stuff all over here, don't I? 32 over 27, or 1 and 5 27ths. Okay, so there we go. Okay, here we go. Let's create a factor tree for these. Okay, 2 goes into 32 16 times, and then 2 times 8, 2 times 4, 2 times 2. A lot of 2's there. And 2 goes into 24, 12, and then 2 times 6, 2 times 3. A lot of prime numbers here, okay? So I've got to be very careful when I transfer them in, okay? So for 32, we have 2, 2, 2, 2. Hope I got all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need one more. And then we have 2, 2, 2, and a 3. Now let's bring them all down. We have a 2, 2, 2, 2. Wow, a lot of 2's. Okay, now let's start multiplying. I will bring this up. We'll eventually get to a common denominator. There's 4, 8, 16. 16 times 16, yes, is 32. And 32 times 3. And yes, I'm going to cheat just for a second. 32 times 3, just to make sure, is 96. So let's see how I did on this. Yes, so it is 96 is our common denominator. Okay, now let's rewrite our fractions. So to get 96, let me just recap. I multiplied 2 times 2, and then that was 8, and then 8 times 2 times 2 times 3, and that gave me 96. So now I'm going to rewrite the fractions, okay? And this is where it gets a little messy. I'm going to do this because this is going to get really cluttered. I'm going to place this over so that it's not quite as messy to the eye. Okay, now we take 32. 32 goes into 96. Okay, now 32 goes into 96 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. 24 goes into 96 4 times. 9 times 4, 9, 18, 27 is 36. Now when I add 9 and 36, that becomes 45 over 96. And then I can divide both of these by 3, okay? 45 divided by 3 is 15. 96 divided by 3 is 32. And there it is simplified, okay? Okay, let's go with a factor tree. 2, 11, and circle the 2. And now what we need to do is, and then 11 is prime. Okay, so I go do my chart. Okay, 22 is 2 and 11. 11 is 11. Notice I have 2 in that column, so only bring down 1. And that is 22. So now I'm going to rewrite this fraction. Okay. And I think I like covering this up so that it's not quite as cluttered. And now I take 22 into 22 goes 1 times 5 times 1 is 5. 11 goes into 22 2 times. 5 times 2 is 10. When I add these together, that becomes 15 over 22. And that is simplified. Okay, let's do a factor tree. We got 2, 2, and 32. I know it's divisible by 2. 2 goes into that 16. And then 2, 8, 2, 4, 2, 2. Again, we have a lot of 2's, so I got to be careful as I transfer. Okay, 4 is 2, 2. 32 is 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Told you a lot of 2's. So now we got 4, 8, 16, 32. So there is our, there is our common denominator. Now we're going to rewrite, and I think I like placing this here. You just don't have as many numbers. Okay, So we have 32, 32. Okay, now 4 goes into 32 8 times. 3 times 8 is 24. 32 goes into 32, obviously 1 times. 15 times 1 is 15. When I add these two together, that equals 24 plus 15 is 39, 30 over 32. And then if I would like, I can divide 39 by 32. That goes 1 time. 9 minus 2 is 7, so that becomes 1 and 7 32. So here's our answer, 39 32, or 1 over 7 32. Okay, let's go ahead and work this one. Let's create a factor tree. That is 3 and 5, and then 12 is 2, 6, 2, 3. Place them in my chart. Okay. And we have a 3, a 5. Then here I'm going to write the 2 out here, the 2 out here. I'm going to write the 3 there. Bring them down. We got 3. We have 5. We have 2 and 2. There's 15. 3 times 5 is 15. Times 2 is 30. Times 2 is 60. So our common denominator is 60. I'm now going to place this over here because I think it's messy. Let's rewrite this. Okay. Now, I have to be careful here when I divide this so I don't make a mistake. 15 goes into 64 times. 3 times 4 is 12. And I worked this earlier and I made this mistake. I had 12 going into 64 times, but it's actually 5 times. And 6 times 5 is 30. Now we add these together, and it becomes 42 over 60. Okay. Now we can simplify that even more. We can divide each by 6. Okay. And 6 goes into 42 7 times, and 6 goes into 60 10 times, and that is simplified. Okay, here we go. We've got 2 goes into 22 11 times, and 11 is prime. Rewrite this. Okay, we have 22 is 2 and 11 is 11. Bring these down, and that is 22. Okay, now let me cover this up so it's not quite as messy. Okay, rewrite the fractions. Okay, 22 goes into 22 1 times. 5 times 1 is 5. 11 goes to 22 2 times. And that gives me 4. Add these together. That becomes 9 22. Everything looks good. 9 22. Okay, guys. Again, remember the intent of this is just to help you gain confidence in adding fractions. So, factor tree, 2 times 10 and 5. And then 4 is 2 and 2. Place them in the chart. Remember, you do not have to use this technique for the common denominator. I just like to do it because it helps me eliminate mistakes. Bring down the 2's. Okay, 4, and 4 times 5 is 20. You may have been able to glance very easily and see that the common denominator is 20. Let me cover this up so it's not so distracting. Rewrite the fractions. Okay, 20 goes into 21 times. 3 times 1 is 3. 4 goes into 25 times. 2 times 10. 4 goes into 25 times. 2 times 5 is 10. Add these together. That becomes 13 over 20. And that is simplified because 13 is a prime number. Okay, let's find the common denominator. You can probably glance at this one and see that it is going to be 14. But let me just show you how the chart does work. Okay. And then, okay, here are the prime numbers. We have 2, what am I doing? 2 times 7 is 14. So I have, write this 7 here and the 2 there. Bring down the 7. And yes, that is 14. Obviously, if you can just glance at it and see that it's 14, you do not have to do this. The bottom line is, common denominator is 14. This one is fairly straightforward. We rewrite the fraction. And be very careful with our math. 7 goes into 14 2 times. 6 times 2 is 12. 14 goes in 14 1 times. Okay, add these and it becomes 14, 14, which is a 1. There we go. Okay, this one you can probably glance and see the common denominator is 6, but just to be consistent, 3 is prime, 6 is 2 and 3. Place them in my chart. Okay, I went ahead and moved this 3 there, bring them down. Okay, now, let me cover this up. Common denominator is 6. So, 3 goes into 6 2 times. 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, excuse me. 3 goes into 6 2 times. 2 times 2 is 4. I was getting ahead of myself. 6 goes into 6 1 times. 2 times 1 is 2. Add these. Look at this. We get 6 over 6, which is 1. Okay, there we go. Okay, again, you can probably glance at this, but let's go ahead and work this. This 27 is divisible by 3. 3 goes into 27 9 times, and then 3 and 3. And then, obviously, 9 is 3, 3. Place them in my chart. We have 27, we have 9. We go 3, 3, 3, 3, and 3. Bring down all the 3s. That's 9, and 9 times 3 is 27. So now we have our common denominator, which is 27. Let's rewrite. 27 goes into 27 1 times. 9 goes into 27 3 times. Okay. Now when we add these together, we get 18 over 27. And we can simplify this by dividing by 3. That is 6 over, and 3 goes into 27 9 times. And now we can simplify this one more time, divide it by 3 again. 3 goes into 6 2 times, and 3 goes into 9 3 times. So there it is, simplified. Could have simplified it another way, but I just used the easiest, lowest numbers. Okay, and this is going to be our last problem. We have, there's a factor tree for 6. Here's a factor tree for 10. Okay, place them in my chart. Bring down. 2 times 3 is 6, and then 6 times 5 is 30. So there is our common denominator. Rewrite the fraction. 6 goes into 35 times. 1 times 5 is 5. 10 goes into 33 times. 3 times 3 is 9. Add these together. That becomes 14 over 30. Okay, and then these are divisible by 2. That becomes 14. 7/15 because 2 goes into 14 7 times. 2 goes into 30 15 times. There we go. Thanks for watching, and remember, kindness multiplies kindness. Be kind to someone today.